The Virginia Horse Industry Board and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Rocher. Today we travel to Pulaski and visit Pulaski Grow, a business that not only uses aquaponics to produce food for the community, but to prepare youth for the business world as well. Then Chris Mullins talks about growing peppers from the ground up. We'll also have the Ag Calendar and a Minute in the Field video. All this plus the Ag News of the Week on this edition of Virginia Farming. Just because we haven't had a report of avian influenza in Virginia does not mean we can let down our guard. Both commercial and backyard flock owners are advised to prevent exposure of poultry to wild waterfowl from flyovers or fecal contamination of ponds and streams. Best practice, keep your birds under cover. Visitors should not enter poultry operations or yards unless absolutely necessary. For necessary visits such as feed and veterinary services, maximum biosecurity precautions are a must, including disinfecting footwear, vehicle tires, equipment, and anything else that enters and exits poultry houses. Bird owners who see any unusual increases in poultry illnesses or deaths should report it to one of VDAC's regional offices, where poultry owners also may obtain disease information and assistance. Well, according to the USDA, farmers are growing more crops with less fertilizer. In fact, in 2014, farmers more than doubled corn production using only 4.5% more fertilizer nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium than in 1980. Now, this trend of continuous environmental and economic performance improvement is something that agriculture producers are very proud of, having been practicing good nutrient management for many years. Corn production accounts for half of the nation's fertilizer use, and experts estimate that 40 to 60% of world food production is attributable to fertilizers. Well, that feed corn is one factor when figuring how to raise high-grading cattle fairly quickly. Cindy Campbell reports.
Extremely high-grading cattle used to be an anomaly in the data. Not anymore.
We're seeing cattle that 20 and 30% prime. I mean, numbers that we really didn't think were possible 10 years ago, we're finding today they're quite possible, quite predictable, and it's pretty exciting, I think, for cattlemen of what might be down the road in terms of being able to put more high-quality product out there, at the same time making a better mother cow, making cattle that are more feed efficiency, being able to make all these other improvements and these other economically relevant traits all at the same time while producing a higher quality product to the consumer.
The marbling recipe combines genetics and management. So McCauley says each segment of the beef community must work together.
We have to start with the genetics, and we can only manage cattle to their genetic potential. And if there's not the genetic potential there to grade into a certified Angus beef or a prime, no amount of management. We can feed them forever and ever, and they're simply not going to get there. And so it's a two-step kind of thought process. We have to first build that genetic base to get the genetic potential of these cattle, and then we have to manage them in such a way that we're able to express that genetic potential.
Although change does take time, real-world examples show improvement can come in a relatively short period.
So in fact, cattlemen that feel like, you know what, man, I've missed the boat on this, I've waited too long. In fact, genetics are so powerful today and so predictable today. We have the tools using a registered Angus bull and the EPDs that are available with that bull that in fact we can make some pretty incredible progress just in one generation, and sets that calf crop up to really take advantage of these market signals that are out there today.
Those who want to take it to the next level should look more closely at replacement heifers, McCauley says. Stacking quality genetics on both sides of the family tree complete the recipe for regularly producing a bigger share of prime grading beef.
I really think that female selection is kind of the next realm that I think our progressive cattlemen are really seeing they can reap a lot of benefit from.
I'm Cindy Campbell.
Thanks, Cindy. The sale of all tractors in the U.S. through May of this year were down 3% compared to last year. According to the Association of Equipment Manufacturers' monthly flash report, in the month of May, a total of 23,613 tractors were sold, which compares to 21,300 sold through May of 2014, representing a 10% decrease. Combine sales were also down. Well, if you've purchased a tractor lately, you may be interested to know that Virginia has a lemon law that covers self-propelled farm equipment. According to the code, when agricultural equipment does not conform to all applicable express written warranties and it's reported to the manufacturer, its agent, or an authorized dealer during the period of 1 year following the date of original delivery, repairs must be made to conform the equipment to express written warranties. To read the code in its entirety, visit the web address on your screen. Well, the USDA has a new online service that will save farmers time and gas money. The USDA's Bob Ellison has more.
USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service is saving farmers a road trip to the field office with its new Conservation Client Gateway, an internet tool that allows interaction with NRCS without leaving home or office.
I can stay home and get on the website, and if I have a question or concern, or I can log into the system and get things done.
I send in a request for assistance and take a picture of it, figure out where I'm at with GPS, and so that they can locate exactly where it's at.
And now there will be fewer road trips to the field office just to sign paperwork.
I'm really excited about having the e-signature so we don't have to make a special trip just to sign a form, and we've done that many times.
However, NRCS says it will still provide personal service and that Conservation Client Gateway will help get even more done.
But we'll still provide that one-on-one personal assistance where we'll be able to come out to your operation, your farm or ranch, and provide that conservation planning and conservation delivery that you expect from us.
They can request technical assistance and also financial assistance. Now we can spend more time working with other producers, and we're not attached to staying at the field office.
For more information, go to www.nrcs.usda.gov. In Washington for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, I'm Bob Ellison.
Thanks, Bob. Pulaski Grow is raising produce with a purpose. We'll talk to Director Lee Spiegel about how aquaponics provides hands-on training to prepare youth for the business world. That's straight ahead on Ag Insights. Today we're in Draper, Virginia in Pulaski County, and we're actually visiting Pulaski Grow. And I'm joined by Director and Founder of Pulaski Grow, Lee Spiegel. Lee, thank you so much for having us out here today.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to have you.
And your buddy Hobbs.
Yes, my hopscotch.
He wants to be in on the show too.
He usually does.
He's super sweet. Well, tell us a little bit about what Pulaski Grow is.
Pulaski Grow is, the core of it is a youth training program. In our area, we have a lack of a labor pool that is ready to be employed. We are looking for people that come ready with skills such as knowing how to show up on time, knowing work etiquette, and being ready to show what initiative is and things like that. And also we have a lot of kids that don't know how to interview, how to do resumes, how to do the basic skills needed to find a job. So our area is really focusing on getting kids in this area ready to be employed, be managers, be entrepreneurs, and that's the focus of our training here. But in order to do that, we really wanted to have a way to not only fund our training program, but to use it as an incubator site for kids so that as they're learning the skills on how to be a good employee, they can practice what they're learning in a working business. So we've created an aquaponics business and are in the process of creating an aquaponics business to give them that opportunity to practice what they're learning as they're learning.
What are some of the skills that the kids leave here with?
When the kids leave our program, the basic course, if they only do the basic course, in that course they will come away with a resume. We will teach them how to write a resume, how to write cover letters. We teach them interview skills, and then we do a mock interview that we film and are filmed and graded, and then they grade each other. So they walk away with that interview, they walk away with all the critique sheets, and they know what they could and couldn't do better. That's kind of a nice way to fail safely if they have a rough go at their first interview. So they walk away with those things. They also walk away because we do not charge for our class. What we ask is 25 hours for the first level in volunteer work in the business to give back. So they'll come away with skills in basic aquaponics, the system, and learning how to work at how to plant in that system, how to harvest in that system, how to look for pests and things like that. So they'll get a certificate with that. They'll get a certificate for their classroom time. And they'll also have their first job review. If they've never had a job before, they will get a job review before they leave on their 25 hours. Did they show up on time? Did they dress appropriately? Did they speak to customers? Well, were they on their cell phone the whole time? Those kinds of things. And as we go up to the more advanced classes, they will learn a lot more about the business. They'll get more into customer service and product research and development, marketing, and looking at budgeting, and into business plans and things like that.
What a great program. Now explain to us, what is aquaponics?
Aquaponics is a form of hydroponic growing, which is growing without soil and water, but with aquaponics, you use fish to fertilize the plants instead of putting in a fertilizer solution. So we have a combination of fish that we use the water from where they pooped, and you take that water and you run it into your system and to your plants, and bacteria that's around the plants and in the grow medium for those plants turns that water into something that's usable. And then in that process, they clean the water and it goes back to the plants, back to the fish. So it's an enclosed system that really minimizes your waste, and you don't have to get rid of water so much to keep everything healthy, and to minimize the amount of water you actually have to put into your system to grow things.
Okay.
So.
What kind of fish are you using?
We're going to be using tilapia. They're a very easy fish to raise. Other than the temperature, they need a warm temperature, but other than that, they're very easy to raise, and so they're one of the favorites for aquaponic growing.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the building we're in. This is your fish tank behind us.
2,000 gallons.
2,000 gallons. That's going to hold a lot of fish.
Yes.
All right, but the building we're in has a little bit of significance, especially when it comes to agriculture. Share that with us.
Right. It started out as being called the Ag Building, and they taught ag classes here, and they taught shop, and they taught home ec, but it was called the Ag Building and that's how everyone knew it in. And so it's kind of nice for us to bring it back to that purpose and connect it with its roots, so to speak. So it's very exciting for us when we realized that that's what it had been.
Wow, that's neat. It's neat that history is coming back and kind of repeating itself here in this building.
Right, and with a kind of and taking ag up to a new level, a higher tech level, and what we would consider a little more environmentally friendly level, because when you're growing with aquaponics, you use, even though it's all in water, you think it would use more water, but it actually uses less water than traditional farming. So in today's culture, that's a good thing, and we want kids to be able to do that.
It's all recirculated.
Right.
So
you capture anything that doesn't get used by the plants.
Yes, but this fish tank is in this building, and all of your plants are in greenhouses.
Right.
Out in another building. So the water
gets pumped.
The wastewater from the fish.
Right. Gets pumped into a sump tank that kind of mixes everything up, and the greenhouse drains back into it, and it kind of mixes everything up, and then it's pumped back to the fish, and then back up to the greenhouse. And that way we keep the fish who are non-native secured in our building, but we still get the benefit of their water in our greenhouse, and we can use that for growing.
Okay.
So we have a pump that pumps it all the way up.
Well, I want to talk about your greenhouse a little bit, because I walked in there and saw things I had not seen before.
Great.
So explain to us the vertical rows of your plant systems and how they work.
They are vertical zip grow farming towers, and they're great because they allow you to grow what you could grow in where you could grow 1 or 2 maybe plants, you can grow 8 to 10 plants. So you're growing vertically, and they allow you to have the water flow through that and then be captured underneath it and returned back to our system. that for me, the other thing that's really great about them is that I can take those towers with me to the market. So we can do what's called live sales, and people can cut right then, cut off. So their produce is so fresh, other than having it in their backyard, it's as fresh as they're going to get.
Well, let's talk about your produce.
Okay.
What are you going to be, now I want to let our viewers know we're in the early stages here. So that's why our fish aren't in the tank yet. There aren't a lot of plants in the greenhouse yet. You've got some started that you're trying, to test and to work with, but it's on its way.
Right.
So what is it that you hope to grow that you're going to be able to sell to folks?
Okay. We're going to be doing, most of our restaurant sales will be lettuces and greens, your kales and spinaches and things like that. Herbs, your mints and basils and pretty much I'm going to attempt all the herbs.
Right.
And then we're also going to, we can do things, you can do things in towers like green beans and other things, but I'm probably going to stick those more in the float tables that I'm using where I can, they have a little more space. In the tables where I'm doing, right now they're hydroponically until my fish get a size that they can support fruiting vegetables. We're growing tomatoes and squash and zucchini and green beans and peppers and things like that. We're going to have 3 ways that we're going to sell. We're going to sell at the marketplaces, local markets, farmers markets. We're also going to sell to restaurants and caterers and bed and breakfasts are interested in having local produce, but we're also going to do a community-supported agriculture, which is what everybody knows as CSA. And so we will have shares that people get. So some of the things that won't grow quite as much of, maybe more of my fruiting things, will go and toward the CSA, so they have a larger variety.
Now, will you keep cycling fish through because you have a market for some folks who are interested in purchasing the tilapia as well?
Yes, I will. I'll be circulating fish through. My goal is to have a second 2,000-gallon tank, and so that we will, hopefully our goal is to harvest once a month, but continually be at a level that we keep the same nutrient level flowing even when we're harvesting once a month. So that's our goal.
Well, this has been a really big undertaking for you because you don't have a background in agriculture, much less aquaculture.
Right.
So how did all of this come about?
I've been a backyard farmer for about 25 years, so I love that. And I had taught some classes on small plot raised bed gardening, and that kind of got me thinking about combining my training for youth with teaching agricultural skills. But I'm just like the kids, I like to learn, and so for me, thinking about doing something long-term and investing pretty much my retirement, this being my retirement, I wanted to do something that would excite me and challenge me, and so I looked at this and it looked very exciting and very challenging, and a lot of people felt the same, and we thought this would be good. It fits with the culture of the community.
So what are some of the benefits of growing aquaponically? Is aquaponically a word?
Yeah, I think so. Yes. To me, I think, like we've mentioned, I think the biggest benefit is being an enclosed system, and I think anytime that you can talk about how interdependent things are, that's a good teaching moment, but it is very helpful to have things interdependent because that assures my customers that we are very organic and because I don't even have to be certified organic. If you have fish in your system, you have to be incredibly careful. Even some organic products can't be used with the fish because the fish don't like them. So by doing that, local people can trust my produce as far as being as healthy as I can possibly make it. I think that's good. It's good for the environment. It also is good because if you're talking, this is a system that is being taken worldwide, especially to third world countries, because within this one system they can get a protein source and they can get their greens. And so I think that that's great.
And it doesn't take a lot of water.
No, it does not.
It really does not. And for those countries who don't have access to a lot of clean water,
Right.
that's a big plus for them, I'm sure.
And being able to recapture that water and keeping it from being lost, which it would be if you water the whole ground and whatever's done, it goes down. I think that's incredibly important. I think if we're looking at what's going on in California, it's incredibly important here, not just in third world countries. It's for us as well.
Absolutely. Well, if folks would like some more information about Pulaski Grow, where should they go?
They can go to our website, which is at pulaskigrow.org. So you can check us out, and we would love to have you. There are questions on that, ways to get in contact with us, but also to get information about our training and about our growing and a little bit about our history.
Okay. Well, Lee, thank you so much for having us out today, and thank you too, Hobbs. You've been perfect. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you coming, don't we, Hobbs?
We'll be right back. Peppers come in so many varieties, and they can be simple to grow. Today, Chris Mullins has tips on growing peppers from the ground up.
Hi, today we're at Virginia State University's Randolph Farm, and as you can see behind me, we've got lots of crops growing, and especially peppers. So let's talk a little bit about those today. You know, everybody grows tomatoes in their garden, and some people grow peppers also, and people often ask me, which is easier? Well, in a lot of ways, peppers are easier to grow. So why don't we take a few minutes today, talk about peppers. I'll try to give you some production tips, and we'll see if it might fit into your garden. Well, the reason I mentioned that peppers are a little easier to grow than tomatoes is because peppers in general have less disease problems, less insect problems, and I think for the home gardener that makes them a little bit easier to grow. Peppers are a great crop, and as you can see here, we've got some really good production, nice plants, doing really well. This is more of a commercial system where a farmer would use something like this mulch covered bed with drip irrigation. But you can do the same kind of thing at home. You can make yourself till up an area and make yourself a bed to put your transplants on. I think it is important to irrigate. We use drip irrigation systems here. We use some type of hose to do that. But you can go and find soaker hoses, and you can put that down. It's also important to think about some type of mulch, like straw or even wet newspaper, to go around the plants. What that does is that keeps the moisture in the soil. It doesn't let it evaporate as much. So that's a good thing to have on your peppers. I think that overall they can do really well for you in the home garden. Well, here in this setting, to keep these peppers from falling over, we've got a trellis system. We've got this plastic mesh netting that the plants grow up through, and it keeps them from falling over. Peppers can get kind of tall and they can get heavy, and they might want to fall over. So you can use something like this in the home garden, or just like the tomatoes behind us, you can put stakes around or near each pepper plant and tie them to that. That'll keep them from moving around, especially in high winds during the summertime. Now, pepper plants need to probably be spaced when you put the transplants in the ground about anywhere from 18 inches to 2 feet apart. It depends on the variety. Some are smaller in stature and some are larger, but if you space them that way, you're going to be fine. Another thing to think about is fertilization. It's a good idea to put down about 2 pounds of 10-10-10 for every 100 foot of row spacing before you plant. And then after you plant, about 3 or 4 weeks after you plant, you can water these with some water-soluble fertilizer, or you can go in with some granular fertilizer and add it to the side where the plants are, add it down the road to the side. That'll keep the plants moving, green, and healthy throughout their growing season. So when you're thinking about peppers, there's lots of different types out there, lots of different varieties. So as you're consulting your seed catalog in the wintertime, look for varieties that are going to fit into your production system. Look for ones that have different maturity dates, because some take longer than others. And one type that takes longer than others is hot peppers usually. Now these are habaneros here. They're an orange. They will get orange as they mature. They're very hot, but they do take a little bit longer to mature than, say, a bell pepper or a sweet banana type pepper. And we do have some of those. That's another type, these sweet banana peppers. They are going to be light green, kind of a lime color, and they're real popular in sandwiches, cut up. Really nice but sweet. And there's also another little type now that's called snack peppers. They're a sweet pepper. They're a little smaller than those, but they're just made to be snacked on. Lots of different varieties out there, so take your time and choose the ones that are right for you. And there's lots of other production tips that you can find from your local county extension office. Well, for From the Ground Up, I'm Chris Mullins, and we'll see you next time.
Taking a look at the ag calendar, Virginia State University is hosting 2 on-site tours with area cut flower growers. The July 8th event will be held at Bloom Flower Farm in Nokesville. The July 14th event will be held at Botanical Bites and Provisions in Fredericksburg. That does it for our show. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week. Today I leave you with images of a compact cattle breed that is rapidly growing in popularity, the National Dexter Cattle Show.
From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.